One of the things that I talk about with great frustration and anger toward is death, and not necessarily what it does to me on an individual level, but what it means for society. We have people who've come along that have done very great things that, by virtue of not being around forever, have their talents unable to assist with ongoing issues or problems that divulge into society. And I think whenever you have a person who is worth a damn that ends up croaking or otherwise dying, um, it can further screw up a scenario any worse than it already is. And unfortunately, we've had it today. I made a video a while back, I'd wager a couple of months ago, about the last good Republican, Walter Jones from North Carolina, who had broken his hip sometime after I made the video, and I think it was last month, and then today died on his birthday. I swear, it's almost like there's a weird curse when it comes to like that whole thing about the good die young, or people that are decent just happen to not be able to stick around as much. So I guess I should probably talk about his record, um, or more so his background. The one thing I always remember most distinctively is the fact that he was I guess, part of a political dynasty. His father was the congressman from North Carolina before him, so he followed in his footsteps. He was adamantly against the Iraq War. One of the few Republicans in the House who admitted it was a mistake while it was still going. And I've tried to explain this to a person I have frequent interactions with. They're a big fan of libertarians like Rand Paul and Thomas Massie. My problem with those two and a lot of other younger members of Congress is that they have this thing where, because they're so ambitious, it ruins their willingness, as far as me observing how they vote in their public statements, to just kind of call out the system and say, hey, look, this president from my party, who's still in office or otherwise still has political capital, is wrong for doing this one thing. And that was something that Jones did to Bush that I haven't seen either of those two do with Trump. And I think that whenever you have lawmakers who are more concerned about their political future and getting some votes instead of policy, that's a dangerous route. We have enough people that are like that, but he wasn't, and that's why I made the stream about him a while back. So all these decent, it's funny, all the Republicans that I happen to like to an extent are always have something happen to them, but then the ones that get to do evil things happen to stick around. Which I'm not saying they should die. I'm just saying that why did this have to happen? And I have this one person who always likes to say that the members of Congress have better health care than regular people, and they survive everything, and blah 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 blah. And it didn't happen here. He also called out the U.S. and its involvement in Yemen, if I'm remembering correctly. Let me see. Yeah, from 2 years ago, which we're still there. He wasn't able to vote for the bill that in the House, which his vote was really critical there because the Republicans were able to, and a couple of Democrats were able to just barely keep it from being able to get passed. He was an ally to non-interventionalism and just getting out of these ridiculous wars. He was someone that admitted to the corruption as it relates to money in politics. Um, this is Jesus Christ. I swear it is. I'm almost at a loss for words. This came completely out of nowhere. Just I heard one thing. I remember Ro Khanna at the reintroducing of the Yemen bill, what, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, at the end of last month, he stated that he hoped that Congressman Jones would get better. And it seems like every time you say that, the opposite, the exact opposite, seems to happen. Sorry, I know that people aren't too big on someone sitting in front of a camera not saying anything. Um, I guess his possible replacements are going to be those same two I mentioned earlier and Mike Lee. But again, the problem with the three of them is they're so ambitious that they don't want to ruffle any feathers by pissing off the Republican establishment. And really, that's kind of I have sort of a mixed feeling about that because it's easy to say, "Ah, you're a coward," ha ha ha. But that speaks to how the party system is so screwed up, where you cannot express or otherwise have an opinion that deviates from the norm because you're afraid of pissing off the people with the most power, which are not the voters. And because Jones, as a member of the House, was kind of just content with where he was, he never had to worry about, oh my God, if I say this war is stupid or we should get out of this conflict or I vote against this, what are they going to do to me? So he earned my respect. It feels so rare to get Republicans that are anti-war that actually stand up to defense contractors. But he was even more rare for being opposed to the corruption. So adamantly admitting, yeah, we have a system that is allowing donors to bribe our politicians via Citizens United. I've literally not seen any other Republican in the House or in the Senate or really in Congress at all mention that as a policy that is destroying American democracy. He might have been literally the only member of Congress that was a Republican to call out the oligarchy. And the idea that one voice is now just snuffed out, um, not exactly a promising thing. But when you go and you look at a lot of the anti-war sentiment, I always try to make this same case. I am not a fan of the Democrats, Republicans. I am a fan of particular policies. So if I see a member of the House or the Senate who says, "Yeah, we need to get out of, let's say, Afghanistan. We've been there for 17 years or 18 at this point," I'll back them. It doesn't matter what party they're from. It's just simply a matter of principle. And I, got that thing from him because he was so far removed from trying to follow the script of whatever his party was promoting. You look at a lot of the politicians, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, if they're guys in the White House, they bootlick for everything he does. And you do get rare instances where one of them will buck from the norm, but it still is a rare thing to have someone so consistently do that. That's why when I look at McCain being called a maverick, uh, for supposedly not following the norm with the Obamacare vote, and then also I think it was the Bush tax cuts, the 2001 tax cuts. He was one of two Republicans to vote against it. Jones really is that to times 10. During this period of warmongering, he was calling for peace. So I know it's a bit of a boring topic for some people, and I don't expect a lot of individuals to know who he is because the media refuse to cover him, and that pisses me off still. But hey, I would much rather talk about someone I actually like over what happened with Klobuchar with the announcement, which admittedly was not that bad. She did a good job of talking about actual issues, unlike Harris. But we can get into that during the week. I just this news kind of took me by surprise. So I guess parting words would be, a lot of times people talk about term limits. They mention we need people to get out of office, whatever. But my problem with that has always been there's, I think, a bit of an refusal to acknowledge that even if you get rid of someone, so like the idea one person said to me was, if you get rid of a person, usually they should have a successor that they can pick and then have fulfill their position. But if that person was unique in their positions or their views, can you really believe that you're just magically going to stumble across someone who matches their ideology? Because like I said, I can name other Republicans in both chambers that are anti-war, even though it's very few. But the fact that that's such a rare number should tell you something, which is that this is not an easy thing to get out of your typical Republican politician, or just politician in general. The Democrats are now pumping for war too. I guess that's it. I just I hate death so much. And again, not because it's going to happen to me, not because it's going to happen to all of us. It's just you have these people who do something that's worth a damn, and then because of this inevitable circumstance, snuffed out forever. But I'm glad that he served, and he was much better than all the other Republicans in the House, with the exception of the one I mentioned earlier, and I guess Justin Amash combined. So, thank you.